Welcome to the Road to the Final Score presented by Bet365. I'm Charlie DeCirco, joined alongside fellow college basketball analysts and my friends Mike Calabrese and Tanner McGrath. We're here to break down the final four games here with our favorite bets. Mike, I'm going to kick it to you first. What's your best bet in Purdue against NC State?
I think these sides are so well calibrated as well as the money line. I don't think there's any value there, but there's certainly value in the player prop market. So I'm going to go Braden Smith to get 8 or more assists at plus 128. You can find it out in the market at about plus 135 if you hunt. Listen, he finished second nationally in assists per game this season. He crossed this number with 8 or more assists in 18 of his 35 starts. And NC State's a team that allows you to work the ball around and get looks at the hoop. 50% of the baskets that they gave up this year came off of assists, which ranks 158th nationally. So essentially, they're middle of the road there. And when you have somebody like Edey who's so efficient and finishes so seamlessly at the 10, that also plays in your favor. You got to keep in mind that Braden Smith dishing to Edey 4 assists against the Zags, 4 assists against Tennessee. You're halfway home just by playing that combination. And then finally, if you remove Purdue's blowout win over Utah State and when Smith exited early against Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament, he's averaged 37 minutes per game dating back to late January. So ability's great, but availability is paramount here to go over a high volume number like this, 8 assists in this game. I think he'll play close to 40. Sean Kerner and his analytics team agree with me. He hasn't projected for north of 36 minutes in this matchup. So for that reason, I'm going to take the plus juice and go over 8 assists for Braden Smith.
Yeah, I love this look. I took him against Gonzaga. He finished with 15. I think that you can even look to ladder and get a double-double out of him. He's a menace on the glass and also one of the best facilitators. Maybe some positive regression coming for Purdue's perimeter shooting, which he'd have a hand in as well in helping out. All right, Tanner, you're up. Your best bet for this Purdue NC State game.
Breeze, I love your Braden Smith look. I'll talk about why in a second, but I'm going to be on the over 146. And look, this total keeps falling. It opened at like 147 and a half, 148, and it's just come down. I think it's all public money. And look, these teams, they play very similar. Two post-centric offenses with dominant big men that are vulnerable on defense if you move them around. Starting on the NC State side, look, DJ Burns, he's impossible to stop. He's too big. He's too physical. His footwork is too good. His touch is immaculate. And nobody has been able to stop that combination dating back to the beginning of the ACC tournament. He shoved Kyle Filipowski into a locker in the Elite Eight, made him foul out, and then dog walked Ryan Young. I mean, he finished that game with 18 points on 13 post-up sets. That's 1.4 points per possession. That's nuts. He also managed like 10 points on 9 sets against Oakland, 14 on 16 against Texas Tech. But if you double team him or try to front the post on him, his vision is too good. And that's what Marquette did in the Sweet 16. And so he sliced and diced the Eagles with 7 assists. Since the start of this miraculous 9-game run, so the ACC tournament on, he's shot 62% one-on-one in the post and averaged 3 assists per game passing out of the post. But you guys have watched Burns. He's too big. He's too laterally slow on defense, and he's a total liability in ball screen coverage and in isolation sets. So if you move him around, you can basically shred NC State on defense. And it's the same deal with Purdue. Edey is dominant in the post, but you have to bring help toward him. And when you do, that opens up the perimeter for all of Purdue's shooters to shoot. That's why they shot, 42% from 3 in Big Ten play, why they rank top 30 nationally in open 3 rate. He also draws fouls so often that Purdue can score at the line at will. But Gonzaga specifically was able to move him around and attack him with like continuity dribble handoff and ball screen sets so he can get exploited in those coverage. So it's really hard to stop either offense, and it's more than possible to score on either defense. And there's a couple wrinkles in this matchup which I think can lead to more points. NC State has adjusted its defense during this run, pretty much defending the post one-on-one while switching more on the perimeter, denying jump shots. But I think Kevin Keatts is going to have to cross-match his interior defensive coverages, put like Diarra or Middlebrooks on Edey, keep Burns on Trey Kaufman-Renn. But if Painter then adjusts by putting Mason Gillison at the 4, who shoots 48% for deep, that'll really stress NC State's rotations, and all of that negative shooting regression that's due for them, by the way, they've been getting really lucky on that end, is going to come crashing down. And a big thing, and this is really why I like your look, Breeze, Purdue has become much more comfortable in ball screen sets this year, and it's something that has really helped their offense adjust when they can't get Edey or the perimeter shooters open. Braden Smith, a stud in those sets. I mean, Purdue only shot like 3 for 15 from 3 against Tennessee, but unlike last year when they flailed when that happened, they adjusted and they scored 21 points in 22 ball screen sets. I think that's an option, especially against NC State's porous ball screen coverage defense. So I think this is going to be a big Smith game. Meanwhile, Purdue really struggles with secondary actions, especially in the middle of the floor, because Edey can't move around. And NC State's really good in the middle of the floor. Burns will hit DJ Horn in the middle of the floor constantly when he gets doubled. So you can really score there. Overall, like, I think there's way too many avenues to offense here. And projections seem to decide with me instead of the market. Like, shot quality bets, Evan Maya, Bart Torvik, Ken Pom, they all project this total over 150 points. These two teams are combined 43 and 26 the over this year. That's 62%. Give me more of the same.
It'll be interesting to see if DJ Burns can take Edey out of the post. That will be something that I'm willing and wondering and excited to watch. And, you know, maybe NC State just gets lucky and Purdue shoots like 10% from three, just like every other team they've ran into in this field. But hopefully not, actually. But before I give my best bet, I do want to remind everybody that these picks are presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only or 18 plus in Kentucky and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, and Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions and restrictions apply. So it seems like we're all targeting Purdue to have some success on the offensive end in some sort of way. Tanner on the over, Calabrese on Braden Smith's assists. I'm going to go back to the well here. Fletcher Lawyer over 1.5 3-pointers made is sitting around plus 125 right now at Bet365. And I love this number. He's 2+ threes in half the games this postseason, but he had 5 last game, a couple of them wide open. And I think that's key here. He's going to continually get wide open threes, especially with Edey. And as Tanner mentioned, getting doubled in the post, it's going to lead to plenty of open opportunities and swings around the perimeter. I think all the Purdue guys are live to go over their 3-point props, especially when you consider that NC State, about an average 3-point defense when it comes to unguarded threes. They allow, you know, a little over 22% of threes to be unguarded. And then you look at their negative regression that I've mentioned earlier, that's long overdue. Duke, Marquette, Texas Tech combined to shoot 19.5% from three. Some of those teams, great 3-point shooters too, especially Duke. And NC State, before this historic and one of the best runs I've ever seen, outside the top 200 in 3-point defense, they still are just 141st. So I think that this defense has its issues from three. And, you know, Calabrese pointed toward availability. And when Fletcher Lawyer is going to play 30+ minutes on the floor, he's over this number in 8 of 14 times. The projections have him right around 1.73. So I'm willing to take this plus money. I think more often than not, Lawyer's going to get 4 to 5, maybe even 6 threes here. Attempts, I think he can it home with 2, given that he's a near 40% shooter. So those are our best bets. I'm on Fletcher Lawyer to get 2 threes at plus money. Calabrese taking an alt line on Braden Smith, 8+ assists, also plus money. And Tanner on the over. All a Purdue party day here on this Saturday. Thanks for watching and best of luck on your plays.